How can parent prepare the child? That's very valid point. Prepare the children to stick to their core values, to manage risks, take right decisions, or take ownership for their deeds. That's always, I believe. These skills definitely help the children to face VUCA situations more amicably. Out of my experience, I can confidently say life doesn't go as we plan. Hence, we need to be prepared whatever life throws at. I strongly believe in, as Ruba ma'am was sharing the second cartoon, from the career counselor perspective, I think it is very important to understand aptitude for any career at the earliest stage. This will definitely help where the global standards or tools or batteries have been used, which will identify or measure the inborn intelligence of an individual. Being in the industry, what I have seen is the students who come out of the colleges, they lack industry readiness because certification is not enough. Because when we see nowadays global academic institutions, the admission procedures are just not only academic performance, but also they give priority to other competencies level as such. We need to be always, as an organization, when we hire, we look for two kinds of roles in an organization. Either who does what has been told, that is a different kind of role. The other one, what we always look for, proactively who take the ownership and deliver. This is the area where nowadays the kids lack because they want to be in the comfort zone.
When I get a CV of a young individual who wants to look for a job, I look at a number of things. Sure, I will look at their academic qualification, what they've studied, depending on what the requirement of the job is. But the other element that I look at, which is very, very important as well, is what are the areas they've been involved with outside of school, in the sense of your extracurricular and co-curricular activities. What have you been doing there? Yes, your skill set is important. Absolutely right. We've been in a VUCA world forever and we've been involved in that. Right now, that world is on steroids in terms of the pace at which it is changing. A lot of you have been involved in the changes that have been taking place. You are the guys coming up with the ideas for the new apps. You're the ones coming up with the ideas for new things to do. So when I look at someone, do I look at how many grade, what's your grade, what did you get in your 12th, what did you get in your 10th? Sure, because your academic excellence and your academic standing will give me some idea about your future in terms of your abilities on certain areas. But what I will look for also is, what were you doing outside of that? Were you solving and thinking of problems outside? Were you getting involved in sports? Were you getting involved in theater? Were you getting involved in dance, drama, music, cooking, baking, whatever you want to do? Why is that important? In a VUCA world, that becomes highly important because those areas teach you skills that only academics cannot. Resilience, the ability to be able to handle communication, leadership skill, the ability to be able to connect with people, to negotiate, to be creative in your thought process. That's the first thing you need to be able to keep in mind. So when we talk about careers in a VUCA world, and when it talks about what students should be focusing on, focus on your growth, because in the world you're in today, your attitude will matter a lot more than your skills. Remember, as an HR person, I'll teach you the skill, I'll upgrade you from where you are, but I can't teach you your attitude, your ability to bounce back from failure, your ability to be able to work with people, your ability to be able to understand that problems are multidisciplinary in nature. When we look at COVID, that has been our most recent problem, ongoing problem, as Rupa ma'am mentioned. It's what kind of problem is it? It's a society problem. We're not being able to connect with each other. We're not being able to do that. It's massively, globally an economic problem, right? But the point is, if I go into COVID thinking only, hey, this is a biology problem, man, I'm an HR person, I don't need to worry about this, I'm wrong. I've gotten impacted. Each one of us has gotten impacted. The minute we start thinking about careers from a multidisciplinary perspective, the faster we're able to do well in the workplace. So whether you choose data science, as Professor Sen is there, or you're able to look at marketing, or you're looking at architecture, or you're looking at science, you're looking at anything, it is multidisciplinary. So as an architect, as a dancer, as anything, you will solve multidisciplinary problems. You will all need to think about sustainability from an environmental perspective. You will all need to think about how is it that the fundamentals of your subject remain strong, because the application of where you will use it will be different. So you can be a designer or an artist and still work for technology in a company like Google to be able to design wireframes. You can be somebody who loves languages and work for Facebook, with Meta now, or any other organization developing AI to make AI more human, because linguistics is going to be important. You can be a psychologist and work with artificial intelligence to make that AI more human and relatable. So when you come to your career choices in a new world, in the world that's very volatile, continues to be volatile, first and foremost, strong fundamentals in whatever subjects you're studying, because application is going to be everywhere. Second, being able to build skills outside of the classroom, leadership, communication, these are what we call people skills, employability skills, the ability to negotiate, connect. We've been talking about that. Third, be alive to the fact that more than anything, your ability to have cognitive flexibility, the ability to learn new things every day is going to be critical. And fourth, you are walking into the most fluid work environment that has ever been, whether it is gender, whether it is thought process, whether it is culture, whether it is relationships. It is the most fluid environment. Your ability to critically think, challenge your own biases, challenge your own thought process and say, have I thought of it differently? Have I thought of this in a different manner? Is going to be one thing that's going to set you apart. Whether you want to run your own business, you want to join a large organization, whether you want to be able to work in the developmental sector, it doesn't matter. Being able to handle the more than anything, I think in the VUCA element, that A of ambiguity is going to be very important to keep in mind, because it's a world that's very quickly shifting. To be able to understand that things are not always what they seem, that's going to be an extremely important element.
I think the most important thing about career is that it is very, very personal. It should be very, very personalized. And definitely one size doesn't fit all. The most important thing is to remember that whatever you choose, you will be doing this for the rest of your life for students. So it is very important to find your own interest, because anything you do, you will be able to make some money. You will be able to live your life. That is not the most important thing. Although it should be there. You shouldn't choose something where you cannot make any money. Rule out those careers. But if you do things well, then you can survive. But if you don't enjoy your life, then there is no point. It's a marriage between your interest and your aptitude. Find a convenient place where they meet, and I think you should concentrate there in your career. One big problem about these batches of students, these specific COVID batches of students, is that they do not have access to seniors. And that is one place where we learn a lot about future possibilities. I am teaching in a college, and I see that my students also are facing this, because, after college, they go to graduate school, they go to, and then this alumni network, knowing the seniors is a big problem, not knowing them for them. So I don't know how to fix that, and think that is why the career counseling is very important for these specific batches. Although we need to keep in mind that we are thinking about 10 to 50 years from now, and nobody really knows what is going to happen then. When I chose to study statistics, and I did get good rank in IIT and I didn't go there, my parents were devastated. What job will this girl do? And will she be able to feed herself? And at that time, data science and all these things were unheard of, and they were not so hot. I followed my interest. And where we have come now, statistics is everywhere. There is very little skill in statistics in the country, and everybody wants to study statistics and so on. So that is my point, that we do not know what will happen when these kids are in their 40s, 50s, in their actual peak working life. So neither the parents nor the counselors have any idea where the world will go, what will become important topics in the future. So what is important is, as Madam Shilpa said, build your fundamentals. And then you can learn. You can learn the new skills. Keep yourself ready to learn new skills that become important.
So when a disaster happens, say a building is destroyed or a village is destroyed, now you have to rebuild it. So do you rebuild it in the same manner? No, we have better technology, we have better thought process, and a better resources. So why don't you build it in a much better manner so that you don't go back to the same situation again? So when we are talking about building back, it is not just the physical structures and things like that. It is a whole lot of things which my co-panelists have already pointed out things. Like maybe the education system, or it may be how we look at a new career or a new career option. Now, a lot of changes happen and they give you a lot of good opportunities to take over. So now this is the mantra for a good career. You need to have education to understand and skill to sustain.
Good morning, all. I'm Ankita. So coming from the student's perspective, I'm going to cover what we would want and expect. Although there's a slight trigger warning here, this might get a little controversial. Yeah, so firstly, I think that what students would totally want from a counselor is suggestions more than conclusions. We don't want you to tell us what exactly we should do. I mean, we want guidance and support. So it could be from any kind of counselor. It's not just a teacher that I'm speaking about. It can be a parent or anyone. We'd rather prefer guidance based on what you feel would be good, based on the kind of people that we are and the skills that we have, rather than what the society needs, or paternalism, or what would others say, or things like that. We don't want that. And today's world has a broad range of subjects that we can choose from, and there's like very, very specific subjects that each of us can take. And I think this is where some of us get a little stuck upon sometimes. So we're often overwhelmed by the number of things that we can take up, and some of them are long-term fantasies, while some of them are genuine interests, and we need some clarity to distinguish which is a fantasy and which is an interest. So if my definition of success is peace of mind and not salary, then I would want people to motivate me to achieve peace of mind. So coming from a person who has faced some dissatisfaction regarding my work, that is not a problem that I would want for myself in the future. So that's one thing that I really want. And I have enough clarity to know that I mean, I am lucky enough to have enough clarity, and a lot of students my age don't. But I think we all still need a little support, at least to say that we can do it and we can reach our goals.